Many blessings, everyone. My name is Virgo, shamanic astrologer and life coach.
Hello everybody, I'm Anael. Blessings.
So we both wanted to share in this video with you, which is based on the astrological transits for this week, which are quite profound. There's a lot of intense configurations in the sky and a lot of opportunities as well. And so we just wanted to break it down into its parts. And really we have a couple big configurations in the sky. So these kind of large configurations really affect all of us, and I thought that it would be great to have Anael on so we can discuss and converse about how these energies are playing out and what potentials and possibilities are arising for us with these. So actually peaking this last weekend and for this next couple of days is this grand cross in the sky, which is a grand cardinal cross. And a cross involves 4 points at each end of the cross. And you may hear this also as a square, a grand square. But first of all, we have to look at, there's a cardinal energy. So there's an energy of activation and initiation or catalyzing of something here. And what's moved in to form this grand cross or grand square is Venus in Libra. Venus is opposing Uranus, squaring Pluto, and squaring Jupiter. And Jupiter is opposing Pluto, Jupiter is squaring Uranus. And then we have the big Uranus-Pluto T-square that we've been talking about for a couple of years now and continues for the next few years. So this is a huge configuration in the sky. And whenever Venus comes in for a transit to a big configuration with some transpersonal planets, Uranus and Pluto, we need to be aware of what's happening in our relationship area, in our creativity, and our finance. Now Venus is in Libra, so of course relationships are a major theme with this because Libra is a sign of harmonious and balanced partnerships. But what can happen is when Venus is in a square to Pluto first, we feel like, okay, is there anything hidden, unconscious, unprocessed that we may need to bring up to the surface and really work through in order to transform or become more enlightened in our relationships and even in our creative process. And this ability to transform or transmute some of what's been lurking in the shadows can actually allow for that Uranian energy, which is really strong this week, Uranus opposite Venus, to help us innovate and reinvent ourselves through our relationships and our creativity. So there's a paradigm shift really possible this week. Now, Jupiter is in the mix, and Jupiter has been adding some amplification and really empowering all this transformation and cathartic breakthrough that is the Uranus-Pluto square. But he's also been making things a bit more chaotic or more hectic. It seems like we're all pulled in so many different directions. Whatever Jupiter's touching, he's always going to basically make bigger. Big Daddy, we call Jupiter, the gas giant out there. He's always going to grow whatever he's touching. Now this is really interesting because this cross is a cross of tension. Whatever tensions are in a relationship could get really huge at this time, could blow up, could explode with this combination. Or what can come to the surface can have this great teaching component to it with Jupiter there, and it can actually be brought up to mutually empower both of us. And so one of the questions to ask during this cycle is, and this is something we played with last night, which is, what am I grateful for? Really, what are you grateful for every day of your life? And do you have a gratitude practice? And this gratitude is tapping into the quality of Venus, because Venus is like Lakshmi, goddess of abundance and prosperity and appreciation in our life. And so we're really sitting with, if we can resonate or vibrate out what we're grateful for and what we appreciate in our lives, that's going to be magnified and amplified by Jupiter, and this can bring actually a great healing, a great enlightened awareness into our life about truly like being in the arms of grace. Did you want to say anything about that?
Well, like we talked about last night, gratitude and finding all the myriad of pieces within the day to be grateful for can really transform us and reconnect us with ourselves, reconnect us with that childhood happiness from which all creativity stems, and really the strength and courage to change your life in whatever direction you see fit, because you see all the pieces that you're grateful for, right down to, you know, the fruit that you're eating in the moment, or the sunshine, and into the bigger pieces of family and beloveds. And from there, really a lot of change can take place.
Yeah, and I was going to say that we were doing this practice this morning of just coming into, you know, either sacred meditation pose or also the tantric yab yum position, and we were working with gratitude and eye gazing, and just a really beautiful checking in the morning or in the evening time, possibly both. A great time is at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, where you can really vibrate out this energy of gratitude and grace in your life. And yeah, one hand to the heart chakra is a really beautiful practice. Some of these basic tantric techniques that we practice and teach other people about, but this is a beautiful week for that. You know, the Venus-Pluto, Venus-Uranus-Jupiter combination, a great week to bring in really deep spiritual and esoteric teachings into our love and relationships, and also empower ourselves creatively. I know for me this week it was really about getting some new gear so that I could compose music and making that investment, and that was time, that was energy, that was money, and yet I'm more empowered now because of it. And so we're looking right now at investments in our life, investments of time and energy and money. And the question that Venus is asking is, what's truly important to us, and then aligning all of those investments towards that. Now, there's actually two big configurations that add on this week, and they're two grand sextiles. So the grand sextile it's a more rare alignment, and we actually had one a bit earlier. Like about a month ago, the end of July, that was really magical, and so we have a huge potential again this whole week here ahead of us. If you guys can remember back to that grand sextile, it was a really beautiful combination of two grand trines, two triangles in the signs of water and earth, the feminine elements. So this creates a Star of David pattern, and I've actually linked down on below the video this imagery of these stars of David, and this is a really, really beautiful, flowing, friendly, graceful aspect in the sky. Actually, quite a lot of magic can happen with this. When we're working with, first of all, the water and the earth, the feminine, we're really working on tapping into the goddess and working with the goddess archetypes in our life. So we can work with Durga or Lakshmi or Saraswati or Tara or Ceres, Demeter. We can work with a lot of these different goddess energies that can help us tap into the feminine abundance, to work with sensuality in our life, the connection to the earth, to food, to dance, to music and the arts, the imagination really opening up. But if we want to get a little bit more specific, then we have to say that what's triggering right now this grand sextile is Mercury. Mercury is coming in first here. Mercury is just a bit in front of the sun in the sign of Virgo. And so what's happening is the Star of David is formed, or these two grand trines, and then they're linked by all of these sextiles. So the trine is this flowing energy, the sextile is this very synthesizing, creative, opportunistic angle. And so it looks really beautiful. It's actually also called a Merkaba shape, and there is sort of a vehicle of creation really strong in this. There's a lot of law of attraction and instant manifestation possibilities. with Mercury coming in, it becomes really important that we look at the language that we're using around what's happening in our life and the power of intention. And this speaking our gratitude is one of the ways we can work with that consciously. Mercury in Virgo is exalted in his rulership there, and there's a potential to really break things down into their parts. And the really fascinating thing is that with both of these grand sextiles, Mercury first, then the Sun, they come into opposed Chiron. So in the grand sextile, you have 6 sextiles, 6 trines, but you also have a few oppositions. You have 3 oppositions. So Mercury coming into opposed Chiron, and then the Sun opposing Chiron, well, this is really important because it's tapping into that wounded healer archetype. So here we're looking at, are my words, are my studies, the way I'm thinking, is it defeating or is it healing? Is it repairing or healing or bringing me back into wholeness? Empowering, absolutely, yeah. And that also taps into Mercury in the trine to Pluto. Empowering, influential words in our life, and also inspiring words. And that really comes in with the Mercury-Jupiter sextile. This is a beautiful week for bringing in philosophy and inspiring teachings into our life, and also, study. Just really what infuses us with spirit. We've been checking out this book called Embracing the Beloved, all about really acknowledging the grace in relationship, and the challenge and the evolution and all of the potential.
Relationship as a spiritual path.
Yeah, relationship as a spiritual path, which is a big theme this week with that Grand Cross. Now, then if we're looking at the Sun coming into this Grand Sextile by the end of the week, really strong. The Sun is our life force and our vitality, so this is going to hit us all very strongly. And I really like this week for doing healing work, and that can be part of this, and this is the Virgo archetype that's really strong right now with Sun, Mercury, and Virgo, is looking at analyzing and critiquing elements of our life that need tweaking, and where there are those defeatist stories, but also Virgo is a sign of assimilation and integration in our life, even digestion. It's a good time to be cleansing, and that cleansing can happen internally and externally simultaneously. And this can be a really transformational process, something that we've been going through. And we've been seeing how, working on the home can really force you to do this work with your diet, and then internally with these stories that are still locked in some crevice of the soul. And it's like each process seems to be feeding each other process.
It's a lot of unearthing to be cleared and to be looked at and transmuted.
Yeah, I like that. Like excavation, is one of the main tools here. I mean, that's a very Sun-Pluto trine type of energy coming in this week, and the nodes are involved with this grand sextile, which means this is part of our collective evolutionary process, and there's just this real strong evolutionary potential this week. A real sense of getting real practical with what we're doing here in our healing work, and also in our daily practices, in our disciplines, bringing in the gratitude practice every day, part of your yoga, part of your meditation, and just really making that commitment. And that's the beauty of an earth trine, is when you really can commit to having a goal and an ambition, then things can really manifest. But you have to do something really, really daily and commit to that. And that's something that I'm also working with clients a lot with right now. Is this is a great transit under which to plan out our lives a bit. Always the earth signs really focus on this. That's Capricorn and Virgo and Taurus. And strategizing, so time mapping and really mastering this yoga of time in our life. laying out the next few months, looking at the new and full moon cycles, where are they landing in my charts. There's these great opportunities coming for us as we get more disciplined and focused on breaking our lives into their parts and really manifesting that step-by-step pyramid for our soul's growth, every day, every week, every month, every year. So, is there anything else you wanted to say about these energies?
Well, I just wanted to mention about time yoga and how it can really tap us into working most optimally with the energies that are present. So you could go about your day and be really productive and about your month and do what feels right to you. But once you tap into what's at play, you could really start manifesting, as you said, in this step-by-step process, really moving forward intentionally instead of accidentally, albeit well, but really an
which is
process.
Part of this thing that comes up with this when Chiron is in the mix is there's often this crisis that arises, and there may be a crisis this week that actually is for our benefit, that's for our evolution, but we can work to not so much prevent a crisis, but prepare and plan to work with the challenge that may come up or the revelation that can help us to evolve.
Support that moment of crisis to get the most soul growth from it instead of experience it as a time of chaos.
Yeah. And so that's what's coming up for my teachings in the next month. I'll have some links below this talk here, but we have a call coming up on these time mapping strategies. It's a free call, Sunday, September 1st. The information is there, and then I'll be teaching my next teleclass, which will focus on optimum health, and Anaya will be joining me for that. She's a health strategist, and we're going to work with optimum health and time mapping as major themes for the Virgo, 6th house, and Chiron theme this month. One of the archetypes was very strong this month, so we'll be talking about that September 10th. And then we have an Evolutionary Astrology conference I'll be a part of at the end of the month, and also a big upcoming retreat here in Colorado that we hope everyone will come out to, with shamanic breathwork and evolutionary astrology, yoga and dance, a lot more. So stay tuned, and thanks again for joining us for this. We're in some deep preparation right now for our big upcoming commitment ceremony that we're very proud of and excited about. So many blessings to you all, and may the fruits of the skies drop down upon you this powerful week ahead.